Welcome back to another Dynasty Startup Draft pick video. This time we're taking pick 9, our penultimate pick, as we go 10-team league. As normal, Dynasty half PPR, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 tight end, and 2 flex. Second half of the video, we'll add a super flex. So again, we're taking the 9th pick, so we're getting close to a turn here. Somewhere where it's probably advantageous to reach a little bit coming the draft because it's a long time before you pick. But as always, normal, top guys go. Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. Looking at the board here, we see a flurry of receivers. Best one available, CeeDee Lamb, got to take him. He should see a little pressure off of him now that George Pickens is in Dallas. Following that up, I'm not privy to go against quarterback here, especially when you're the best quarterback in the NFL. Come second round, that's Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, barring any big injury, which he hasn't really gotten in his career, is a quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens for at least 10 more years. So starting Lamar Jackson, CeeDee Lamb, we're instantly thinking we're in win now mode. That makes me think A.J. Brown's on the table, Jonathan Taylor's on the table, Kyren Williams maybe, T. Higgins certainly on the table. A.J. Brown's the best receiver there. It's hard to pass up a receiver room with CeeDee Lamb and A.J. Brown. Following that up, I'm taking Jonathan Taylor. I mean, we saw what he did at the end of the last year. We saw what he did a couple of years ago. Jonathan Taylor, when he gets those 30 carries, he looks like the best running back in the league. He's certainly a workhorse. We know the Colts have a lot invested in Anthony Richardson, so Anthony Richardson's best skill is on the move. In order to get that going, Jonathan Taylor has to be at his best. So Jonathan Taylor is going to be a part, and he's going to be great. Xavier Worthy should work underneath routes if Travis Kelce kind of falls into a decline. Just get the ball in Xavier Worthy's hands and let him run. Following that up, I'm taking Lamar Jackson's running mate, Derrick Henry. Just signed that extension. The Ravens plan to use him in the future. That age is not going to scare me off because I'm going for a championship now and next year. So if we can get 2 years out of Derrick Henry, I think we're very solid, and I think we will. Derrick Henry is just a freak. He's the best running back in the NFL, and he's going to be a part of this Ravens, pound first offense. I mean, look what he did last year. Following that up, we're in an interesting spot. This board doesn't really speak to me at all. I mean, if you really want a tight end, George Kittle's fine, but given what tight ends are available later in this draft, I think we can wait on that. I'm looking at Jameson Williams, who I think is a really interesting player. Will he see some regression from last year? Certainly, but he showed what he can do last year, and I think Dan Campbell's a smart enough guy to know that this guy has to be involved in the offense. The Lions are still one of the most potent offenses in the NFL, even without Ben Johnson. I'm following that up to get 2 more years out of Mike Evans. As long as Mike Evans is on the field, he's going to get 1,000 yards. So Mike Evans, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns is a perfect, flex 1, flex 2, even wide receiver 3 if your league goes that deep. So we're veteran heavy, which I like. So I'm going to continue that going with James Conner, who's awesome when he's healthy. Cardinals are an interesting spot. They have to run the ball in order for Kyler Murray to get running. So James Conner is still going to be the guy, and we know how good he is when he's healthy. Following that up, to take Devontae Adams, who should see single coverage this year. Some of the time with Puka Nacua being the target hog that he is. Matt Stafford's still there. The Rams have put together, one of the better offenses in the NFL this season. I'm following James Conner up with Trey Benson. If you've been following these videos, you know how much I love Trey Benson. Again, the Cardinals have not done anything to really, replenish that running back room. They drafted Trey Benson high with the plan to use him. Can James Conner stay healthy? Yes. Is he going to stay healthy? No. That means that Trey Benson's coming in and being that James Conner is hurt. Moving forward, Isaiah Likely is a really interesting pick with a young tight end at Baltimore. I don't know how much time Mark Andrews has left in Baltimore, even in the NFL in general. Not that he's a bad player, but, getting older, tight ends kind of go by the wayside a little bit, especially big receiving threats like Mark Andrews. Isaiah Likely, we kind of saw what he can be at the beginning of the season last year. If he gets any sort of shine, he's a big athletic target that will only help Lamar Jackson continue to progress in his NFL career. And I'm going to follow that up with another tight end. I talked to him before. Travis Kelce is a guy in Kansas City. I know he's old. I know he had kind of an off season last year. But his offseason is still, great tight end seasons for other tight ends. You're probably only getting, a year or two out of him. But Travis Kelce is a guy who's going to be involved in offense. He's still Patrick Mahomes' number one guy. Follow that up with Aaron Jones, who probably only has a year or two left in him. But again, it's a guy who's going to produce right away. We're definitely in a win now, just looking at our team. And Aaron Jones is going to be both involved in the run and pass game. And then our last pick of the draft, Jared Goff. Again, Jared Goff is just as solid as they come. He's a guy who's probably going to get you 15 points a game. Can he go for 30? Can he go for 40? Absolutely. Is he ever going to go below 10? Probably not. Plus, you're just using it, on Lamar Jackson bye weeks and Lamar Jackson injuries, which I'm not, expecting much of given what we've seen out of Lamar Jackson last year. So we're going super flex now. So again, same roster build. We're just adding super flex, so quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. Many people fill it with quarterbacks, which makes the most sense. You're probably going to get the most points out of quarterbacks on a week-by-week basis. So as we see, quarterbacks go early, we see Justin Jefferson, we see Brock Bowers go. I'm looking at B.J. Robinson, man. He's the workhorse in Atlanta. He's the guy who's going to touch the ball the most. And then I'm following that up with Malik Neighbors. Again, not a running back, but the workhorse at the Giants. Look what he did in his rookie season. Now, can he replicate that? I think he can. Is it going to be expected? No, but if he even gets close to those numbers, that's wide receiver 3 territory. So we're starting B.J. Robinson, Malik Neighbors, which is incredible for the future. But just to kind of show you how things kind of shift when quarterbacks, 2 quarterbacks are involved, look how different our team is already. See, I picked Devon Achane here, who, with the ball in his hands, he's getting at least 6 yards, and he's so involved in the pass game. But to my point, look how different it is. Now it kind of feels like we're kind of in a win now, right? But in a win now differently. We're taking young guys who produce. With all these quarterbacks going early, we can kind of take our pick on our skill positions. Ladd McConkey, another guy I love, out of the slot for Justin Herbert. With Trey Harris coming into the offense, that's going to open kind of those intermediate routes that Ladd McConkey dominated at last year. I'm excited for another season out of Ladd McConkey. I'm taking my quarterback here. I guess Kyler Murray is the pick. Kyler Murray, his legs are going to do everything for you, as always with Kyler Murray. The Cardinals I don't think are as bad as people probably want to say that they are. Their offensive line's better than it has been in the past. James Conner's there, who should get that run game going. That's only going to help Kyler Murray. I'm expecting a jump from Marvin Harrison from last year. And Kyler Murray is still one of the top fantasy relevant quarterbacks just because of his legs. Follow that up with Zay Flowers, who's going to be involved in the Baltimore offense. He's that number 1 target now. Mark Andrews is kind of, not the guy that we know Mark Andrews to be. Zay Flowers catches a ton of touchdowns. His only problem is his drops, but he's getting targets, which I love. To add to that receiving room, I'm taking Terry McLaurin, who had a career year last year. Terry McLaurin is a guy who's a sure-handed target for Jaden Daniels. Kind of bailed Jaden Daniels out of a lot of spots where he could just throw it up on third down, and Terry McLaurin would come down with it. RJ Harvey is not going to be our super flex, but we're taking him. He's going to see a ton of carries right away in a Sean Payton offense. And here's going to be our super flex is J.J. McCarthy. With all those targets around him, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Aaron Jones, T.J. Hawkinson, Kevin O'Connell is a quarterback whisperer. J.J. McCarthy's in a really good spot to succeed like he was in Michigan to win a championship. Following up J.J. McCarthy, I don't really love this board. Kyle Pitts I'm not touching. But we go Trey Harris, who kind of works alongside Ladd McConkey. Trey Harris is a stud. He's a big play threat at Ole Miss. He's big receiver who's not necessarily the fastest, but given his basketball-like size, he's a guy that Justin Herbert can kind of whip passes up to, and he can come down with them. Following up Trey Harris, James Conner, talked about him before. Love him when he's healthy. And that'll be a nice sidekick there to Kyler Murray. If you're not confident about, Terry McLaurin, Zay Flowers, if you need to get guys in for replacements. So I follow that up with Davante Adams, who, again, is going to see single coverage. And Davante Adams, if you're telling me that he's single coverage, if you're telling me he's going to be drafted in the 12th round, I'm taking that every single time. Travis Kelce, like I talked about before. And then moving forward, I see Jackson Dart there, who I think is very interesting. He's a guy that if you use Taxi Squad, he's probably not going to start this year. but you can definitely stick him on your taxi squad and reap the benefits in the future. I'm taking our third quarterback here with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott now has a new weapon to use with George Pickens. Dak Prescott's fine. I think he's a consistent, 12 to 18 point per game a guy, which you're not necessarily going to need with J.J. McCarthy and Kyler Murray. Another guy I'm willing to take a flyer on is Stephon Diggs. He's a guy who's going to make Drake May better. He's the guy who made Josh Allen better. He's the guy who made Kirk Cousins better. Stephon Diggs is a good veteran presence to have in that locker room. All his teammates love him, and Drake May is certainly going to love him. And then following that up, I'm taking Travis Kelce's replacement, hopefully in the future for our team, in Terrence Ferguson. Terrence Ferguson, extremely athletic tight end out of Oregon, extremely athletic after the catch. He's a guy that you can slot in probably a year or two from now, especially if Tyler Higbee gets injured. Fuck yeah!